Hey everyone out there, thank you so much for checking out my week 5 review of Bravo's season 4 of Real Housewives of Atlanta. I really do truly think and believe that I'm falling in love with these ladies more and more every week. So, like I do always, let's start off right from the top. Candy had a pleasant surprise when Phaedra showed up with a nice gift and apology for the incident that took place at her birthday party that the week prior. Apparently, the well-intended gift of having world-renowned exotic dancer Ridiculous come to dance at or perform rather at her 35th birthday celebration did not go over so well with many of the guests, including her mother, Miss Joyce, or Mama Joyce, as many of the others call her, and they really had a nice heart to heart talk about what the gift was and whether or not it was appropriate for her to have him come out and dance at the party, so on and so forth. And I think Candy made a point of letting Phaedra know how disappointed and angry her mother was about the events that took place at the birthday party. But I was really, really glad to see Phaedra and Candy to sit down as friends and as the great ladies that they are to really talk about what happened. I personally do believe that the gift for Candy was really well intended. However, I do not believe that it was well thought out because I don't think that Phaedra would have continued on with her idea of having this gifting of an exotic dancer to Candy's party had she known this would have affected Candy's mother like it did. So moving on, we are seeing Cynthia being prepped and eventually speaking at a fashion event in Atlanta. And many of us know, myself included, as a professional publicist, public speaking is not the easiest task for a lot of people. And we saw that tonight in Cynthia, as beautiful as she is. And the queen of the runway, as much of a queen of the runway that she is, it appears that she really, really, really had a difficult time on the at the event, speaking in front of the several hundred people that were there. But I will give kudos to her because not many people of her stature would really admit that she has difficulty speaking before people like that. So she may have to give Christopher Boston PR a call for some public speaking preparation. But that's a different episode. But yeah, so we pretty much saw her speaking before the event. She had some difficulty, and oh boy, during the reception, we have two new people coming onto the show, really, as an introduction, really. They're Marlo and Charles Grant. And I say Charles Grant, and I really, really want to make sure that I make it known that I'm separating Marlo from this thing. Marlo is the female companion of Charles Grant, but it does not appear that they are married, as it was admitted in the show tonight. Charles Grant is a famous football player. I'm not exactly sure from where or how or when, but it appears that this is the individual that was rumored of having an affair with our beloved Nene Leakes. And this really angers me, not so much because I love Nene, because we all know that I do, but the fact that it is a rumor. And for some reason, there are people that cannot seem to identify the definition of a rumor as just that. A rumor is something. It could be a comment, it could be an idea, it could be an assumption that has not been made a fact. And until something has been confirmed or made factual, it will remain a rumor. And it is really saddening for me to see how rumors can really cause so much of a disruption in people's lives. People like Nene, whom we know to love. But Marlo and Charles definitely was introduced during the reception, and there was a conversation about, oh, this is the guy that supposedly was in this affair or relationship with Nene, and it really, really, he really didn't say too much, and he really didn't give so much of an answer. It came across to me actually that he was trying to protect himself a little bit. about, and he was, because it appears that he was really, really, he chose his words very carefully about whatever this is he had with Nene Leakes, or whatever the relationship was about. And I say relationship, there are a number of different relationships. There's a professional relationship, there's a romantic relationship, there is a platonic relationship, there's a number of different relationships. And apparently there was some sort of connection or relationship between he and Nene. I'm just not absolutely convinced that it was to the level that many of the others are speculating at this point. But moving on past the reception, Cynthia's mother, her Cynthia's mother, her sister, and herself all revisited the Bailey Agency because apparently it's either close to being finished or already about to open up. And this was the first time that Cynthia and her sister Mallory had sit down to talk with each other after the big falling out last week. And if you remember, if you watched it, which I really hope you do, they had a really big argument about why it seemed like Cynthia was trying to was trying to control. I'm sorry. It appears that Mallory was trying to control Cynthia's decisions in her and Peter's relationship. So her, the mother, and the sister really sit down and had a heart talk. I'm not sure how far it got because I could tell that it was really, really still some, it was really still some heat between the two. And I could really tell that the mother was not pleased that Cynthia and her sister Mallory was having this issue, as it appears that they have always been somewhat close. So I'm really hoping to see, I'm really hoping to see they actually grow closer, like they have been in the past over the next few weeks of the show. But then up it comes this surprise by Cynthia that an investor that had committed $40,000 to Peter for his opening of Bar One ultimately backed out because the instrument that he used to pay Peter the check was non-negotiable because of insufficient funds. And Cynthia just basically said, as this is her husband, and she feels as though that it's her duty to come to his aid for something like this in the event he needed her. I did not hear her say she was just about to write out the check, but I did hear her say that she would make herself available if he came to her. And that was very noble about her. But eventually, we heard later on in the show that she had a prenup, and that she also, so it looks like that she's definitely in it to protect herself as well. Prenups are great, even though this is a little bit off the topic, but a marriage is a contract, and a prenup is sort of like an insurance policy or a subcontract in the event that the contract of marriage is broken. So again, I give kudos to Cynthia and Peter for taking that extra step to kind of sort of secure their marriage in the event something shall happen, because you never know. So then we got to see Sheree. Now, I was actually looking forward to this segment because this is a segment where Sheree's ex-husband, Bob Whitfield, who's also a former pro football player, came to visit during some type of soccer park day Sheree was having with the children. And they got down about Bob is owing Sheree money. Now, in previous previews of the show, you could see that there was a situation where, Sheree is telling Bob, "I'm going to take you to court for the money." He's saying, "Go ahead and do it." And there was a part of the preview where you saw our beloved Phaedra representing Sheree. And one thing that stuck out to me is that Phaedra says, "I am the attorney for the respondent, Sheree Whitfield." And I said, "Well, wait a minute." I started to put on my legal hat. I said, "Wait a minute." I said, if the respondent is the person that is being sued in a complaint, in a lawsuit, and the petitioner is the person that's filing the lawsuit. So I'm not absolutely sure why Phaedra would be, I'm not absolutely sure why Sheree would be the respondent in a lawsuit that supposedly she's filing against Bob. It seemed to me that she would be the petitioner. I'm just going to fast forward a little bit. It appears, according to the preview that we saw a little bit after the show tonight, that Bob is actually suing Sheree. We won't see what's going on until next week, but that settles my concerns about, something just didn't sound right hearing her say the respondent and not petitioner. So my thoughts was right. It's a little tidbit, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what actually is going to go down in the courtroom. Why is Bob Whitfield suing Sheree? I guess we will have to wait until next week. Um, so then, Kim is having a heart to heart. It seemed like this was the episode of heart to hearts. Kim is having a heart to heart with her daughter, Brielle, about the new addition to the family. Now, any new addition, any change to a family can be distracting. But so it looks like Sheree is trying to open up is trying to open up to Brielle to say, hey, even though there's going to be a new baby in the house, you know, uh, even though Croy's here, things aren't going to be different, etc., etc. However, it further appears that Brielle may be open to having Croy around, so as a father figure, but I don't think that I don't think she's ready to have a new baby in the house yet. So, I'm going to be looking to see, how this all works out, because I know Kim is a really, really good mother, and I know that she definitely does have her children's best interest in heart. And if it comes across to her that Brielle is having a concern, I know that she's going to address it. So I'm going to look to see how actually this all pans out with Brielle, um, in the upcoming weeks of Brielle accepting this new baby coming to the home. And then back with Cynthia, Nene pays Peter and Cynthia a visit, and they're pretty much talking like they always do. Cynthia, Nene, and Peter are really good friends. I'm glad to see that. But it comes up the idea about Nene hosting this grand opening or preview of Peter's Bar One. So she said, "Yeah, I'll do it." And they're looking through the almost finished bar, and that's a good thing. Nene, like they said before, believe it or not, Nene is a celebrity, and Nene will bring a crowd out. I mean, she's hosted events here in the Washington D.C., Maryland, Virginia area many times before, and she does bring out a crowd. So it's a smart business move for Peter to have someone to come out that he knows is going to draw a crowd, and that's pretty much what the gist of that was. And they talked about what their plans were and what Nene had to do, so on and so forth. Everybody knows Nene Leakes knows how to work a room. So they were agreed upon that, and then we got to see Phaedra, and this was somewhat of a short segment of her counseling Sheree about these issues that she's having with Bob. She apparently has been 4 or 5 years that he hasn't paid child support, and it looks like Bob is saying, she's making money. She's making all this money, and she's making more money than she was when the child support order was put in place. So I don't think it's necessary that if she was unemployed and broke when they issued the child support order, that I should continue to have to pay all this money when she's apparently making way more money now. And I saw a different side of Sheree this time, because when Phaedra's like, you know what, honey, let's sue him, let's take him to court, let's take him for all we can get and get your money, Sheree kind of fell back a little bit. She said, you know what, let me think about it, because I don't want to cause any problems, any trouble for Bob. And that really, that says a lot about her, because even though he owes her allegedly 4 years of child support, it doesn't appear that she wanted to jump right in with her butcher knife and just gut him for all that she could get. And again, that's very noble of her, I think, because she was really thinking about him. She was thinking about the children. And again, I really like this side of Sheree. I really, really do. So then we got to see Candy, who was visiting her mother. And this was the first time that she's seen her mother since the incident at the party. And again, Candy's mother, Joyce, was not having it. She had a few choice words for this party. And I think they talked, and Phaedra, I'm sorry, Candy further explained that she was not aware that this was going to take place at the party. They talked and talked and talked and talked about how it's one thing to be friends with your mother, but it's also another thing to have respect and understand that no matter how good friends you and your mother are, that she is still your mother. And I think Joyce, again, I think she had a good point. She doesn't want them to come across her as, oh, we can treat her like one of us, because she's not. She is Candy's mother. And I think that she used this, I think that this was a teachable moment for all of them to show them, that no matter how much Miss Joyce hangs around, that they still should have respect for her. And I'm almost 100% positive that the next time Miss Phaedra is going to be much more reasonable and much more careful about any sort of planning that she puts in place. Shall it's possible that Candy's mother or any other adult or mature adult, Candy's mother age, is going to be in the place or venue where the event is taking place. So I'm glad that these talks are happening, because now you know. A lot of times things happen. You don't do it intentionally, of course, but you don't know that what happened would cause issue. So like I said, I'm glad that they have these talks, because now they know ahead of time. And then we get to the grand opening. Oh my gosh, where is the host? Where is Nene? Nene hasn't showed up to Peter's preview or grand opening of Bar 1. So everyone is there, all with the exception of Kim and Nene, the housewives are there, and up comes Marla and Charles Grant again. And everybody said, is it possible that Nene didn't show up because Charles Grant is there? I'm just going to go out on a limb and say Nene Leakes could give a hoot less that Charles Grant was there. I know she says she has some sort of issue, and I really do believe her, because Nene doesn't seem like the type of person, as big and bold as she is, she doesn't seem like the type of person that would avoid anyone. I definitely wanted to defend her on that, because I don't think that was the case at all. But eventually she did show up, and I think Peter and Cynthia was really happy that she did show up. And she went out there and she did her thing for the time that she was there. And that was pretty much the gist of the show tonight. I hope all of you really, really enjoyed the show. I'm really enjoying this season, as I have all of the seasons. So then again, thank you so much for checking out my preview. You can catch me here every single week after the show. And you can also catch me right here on this channel every Wednesday when I do my weekly broadcast of my show, Talks with Tim. Feel free to leave me questions, comments, suggestions below in the comment field. If you need to email me or inbox me, whatever you need to do, you can find my contact information in the show more field below the video. Again, thank you so much for checking out my video, and until next time, take care.